Namaste, everybody. How are you? Happy Saturday night. My name is Steve Ham. You can call me Hammy. And tonight we are going to pick up back where we left off, reading from our favorite book, Bhagavad-Gita as it is, by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta, Swami Prabhupada. So I've been trying to read a couple every other night or so. Read a few texts from each night. So right now we're in chapter 1 because we just started. It's our third night doing it, and we are going to start at text 12, and I'm going to wrap it up at text 18. So before I get started, I just want to remind you that I'm not a teacher, and I'm not I don't claim to be any sort of Vedic scholar. I'm just a devotee of Lord Krishna, and I try to follow the teachings of my spiritual master, Siddha Swarupananda, Jagadguru Siddha Swarupananda Paramahamsa, and his spiritual master who wrote this book, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So, that being said, please accept my obeisances. And if you would forgive me, I'm going to spell some things incorrectly. Pronounce some things incorrectly. I will definitely spell them incorrectly. But I will pronounce some things incorrectly because, frankly, I am kind of tied-tongue with this stuff. Sanskrit names, the Hindi names, they're tough on me. Fortunately, I don't believe it takes away from the message because the message is perfect. But as I do this, I will get better. And if you would be patient with me, I would just greatly appreciate it. All right. So before I get started, I'm going to pay my obeisances to my spiritual master and the spiritual masters that I walk before him. And then we'll get to reading. Okay. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Siddha Swarupananda Paramahamsa Iti Namane Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Siddha Swarte Garadhar Sivasade Gaur Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Haribo Krishna, Haribo A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Haribo Jagadguru Siddha Swarupananda Paramahamsa Jai. Okay. I think I'm going to turn my mic gain down a little bit. How's that? Hopefully you guys are hearing me okay. I want to stay in that yellow, not get too loud. All right, so tonight we're going to start at 12. I'm going to push this mic off a little bit. So text 12, I'm going to read translation and I'm going to read the purport. Text 12, translation. Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loud like the sound of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy. Purport. The grandsire of the Kuru dynasty could understand the inner meaning of the heart of his grandson Duryodhana, and out of his natural compassion for him, he tried to cheer him by blowing his conch shell very loudly. Befitting his position as a lion, indirectly, by the symbolism of the conch shell, he informed his depressed grandson Duryodhana that he had no chance of victory in the battle because the Supreme Lord Krishna was on the other side. But still, it was his duty to conduct the fight, and no pains would be spared in that connection. Text 13. Translation. After that, the conch shells, bugles, trumpets, drums, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. Translation. So that was 13. No purport for 13. So text 14. Translation. On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells. Purport. In contrast with the conch shell blown by Bhishmadeva, the conch shells in the hands of Krishna and Arjuna are described as transcendental. The sounding of the transcendental conch shells indicated that there was no hope of victory for the other side because Krishna was on the side of the Pandavas. Jayas tu Pandu Putranam Yasam Paksi Janharda. Victory is always with persons like the sons of Pandu, because Lord Krishna is associated with them. And whenever and wherever the Lord is present, the goddess of fortune is also there, because the goddess of fortune never lies alone without her husband. Therefore, victory and fortune were awaiting Arjuna, as indicated by the transcendental sound produced by the conch shell of Vishnu or Lord Krishna. Besides that, the chariot on which both the friends were seated was donated by Agni, the fire god, to Arjuna, and thus indicate that this chariot was capable of conquering all sides wherever it was drawn over the three worlds. Excuse me. Text 15, guys. Translation. Then Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called, Pankajanya. Arjuna blew his, the Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Pandram. Purport. Lord Krishna is referred to as Hirikeshi in this verse because he is the owner of all senses. The living entities are part and parcel of him, and therefore the senses of the living entities are also part and parcel of his senses. The impersonalists cannot account for the senses of the living entities, and therefore they are always anxious to describe all living entities as senseless or impersonal. The Lord, situated in the hearts of all living entities, directs their senses. But he directs in terms of the surrender of the living entity, and in the case of a pure devotee, he directly controls the senses. Here on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the Lord directly controls the transcendental senses of Arjuna, and thus his particular name of Hirikesha. The Lord has different names according to his different activities. For example, his name is Madhusudana because he killed the demon of the name Madhu. His name is Govinda because he gives pleasure to the cows and to the senses. His name is Vasudeva because he appeared as the son of Vasudeva. His name is Devaki Nandana because he accepted Devaki as his mother. His name is Yasoda Nandana because he awarded his childhood pastimes to Yasoda at Vrindavan. His name is Partha Sarathi because he worked as a charioteer of his friend Arjuna. Similarly, his name is Hirikeshi because he gave direction to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Arjuna is referred to as Dhananjaya in this verse because he helped his elder brother in fetching wealth when it was required by the king to make expenditures for different sacrifices. Similarly, Bhima is known as Vrakadara because he could eat as voraciously as he could perform Herculean tasks. such as killing the demon Hidimba. So the particular types of conch shells blown by the different personalities on the side of the Pandavas, beginning with the lords, were all very encouraging to the fighting soldiers. On the other side, there was no such credits, nor the presence of the Lord. Nor on the other side, there were no such credits, nor the presence of Lord Krishna, the supreme director, nor the goddess of fortune. So they were predestined to lose the battle. And that was the message announced by the sounds of the conch shells. Okay, this is text 16 through 18. It's all one. It's not very long. Okay, so translation. My mic's hot. Sorry, guys. I gotta work on my mic stuff. I'm learning. As much trouble as I have pronouncing the names, I'm learning about this software and mics and video cameras, all this stuff. I'm learning it all at the same time. But we'll get through it together. Okay. All right. Translation. We're on 16 through 18. King Yudhishthira, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell. The Anatavajaya and the Nakula and Sadeva blew the Sughosa and the Mani Puspaka. That great archer, the king of Kasi, the great fighter Sikhandi, Drishtyanyuma, Virata, and the unconquerable Satyaki Drupada, the son of Drupadi, and the others, O king, such as the son of Subhadra, greatly armed, all blew their respective conch shells. Purport. We get to read all those names again. Sanjaya informed King Dhritarashtra very tactfully that his unwise policy of deceiving the sons of Pandu and endeavoring to enthrone his own sons on the seat of the kingdom was not very laudable. The signs already clearly indicated that the whole Kuru dynasty would be killed in that great battle, beginning with the grandsire Bhishma, down to the grandsons like Abhimanyu and others, including kings from many states of the world. All were present there, and all were doomed. The whole catastrophe was due to King Dhritarashtra, because he encouraged the policy followed by his sons. Okay, man. That was pretty good. Hey, what about this thing? I have this bookmark. Look at this bookmark. Isn't that beautiful? Want me to read it to you before we go? Okay. Oh, my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings. And thus you have hundreds and millions of names, like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names. But I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. And that was Siri Sikastakam, verse 2. Okay. I'll put my book back on my rack. Okay, guys, we did it again, right? We're doing good. We're going to read this whole book together. And by me reading this book to you this way, it ensures that I read. And if you're so inclined to hear, then maybe I know you'll get benefit out of it if you follow along. Even I know you'll get benefit out of it. Maybe, again, like I said, especially in this first chapter, I'm absolutely not qualified to speak on it. But when we get into later chapters, although I'm still not qualified to speak upon it. I am qualified to speak upon my experience with the scriptures and how they've affected me and changed me. And and so these lives will get longer, and I will speak upon those later. And more to come, more to come. So anyways, with that, I hope you have a really, really nice Saturday night. I love you. Namaste. And, where's the clicker button? And Haribo.